Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew from Tarot with Andrew on Instagram and tarotangel444.com. And I am here today with Calista, who is an award-winning author, pioneer of angel ascension, and magical leader who truly walks her talk. She has created the therapy modalities angel healing, unicorn healing, and Atlantean crystal healing. She has attuned thousands of souls worldwide to the angelic, elemental, and crystalline kingdoms, and believes by healing and empowering our lives, we help all of creation to thrive. And her amazing new book is called The Female Archangels, Evolutionary Teachings to Heal and Empower Your Life. And it is the first book to solely profile who the female angels are, and went straight to #1 the day of its release. And I personally love the book. It is phenomenal. I have the Kindle version, I have the audio version, I have the print version. Yep, and I
we're matching.
Yes, I love it. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's such a joy to be here. Thank you so much for asking me, Andrew, and hi to everybody.
So how are you doing in this crazy crazy time?
In the episode that is nature and Mother Earth right now. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I am doing well, just really watching and observing what's going on and trying not to get too attached to the hype and drama, just trying to, just hold the space as much as I can.
Absolutely. That it's very important, I think, to have a balance between awareness and a balance between be just holding on to your spiritual practice and not letting anything take that over. How are you staying grounded? Like, how are you staying sane?
A mixture of things. A spiritual practice every day is key for sure, because that is what is your touchstone for your divinity, for truth, for certainty amongst these times. But also I make sure that I get in my body every day through physical exercise, whether it's at the moment it's weight training. I'm really loving it. I'm loving lifting heavy weights. It just feels really good, and it seems to really balance all the light energies that I work with that are so fine and feminine, and then this is like heavy weights. It's really good. But that's what's been coming through a lot recently from spirit, is to be in our physical body as much as we can while we go through these shifts.
Absolutely. I know I had a similar experience when all of this started, and the place where I work, we closed. And then we went to, before we even started working from home, and I really had the opportunity to get into my body and work out more. And because I had always been making so many excuses, or oh, I have a client, I have to do this reading, or I have to meditate, or I have to read this book. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do this. And I was given that time, and it really changed a lot just by showing up for myself every day. And it does change everything.
That's like the golden lining, isn't it, to what's happened? Everybody is, I guess, the beginning of the lockdown, we were given that opportunity to do a life review and put into practice everything that we're putting off. So good for you, Andrew. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you as well. I know it's always hard to make time for things, and then when you're given time, you have to actually make the choice to do it. You have to show up for it. I know I was thinking about how people are saying, oh, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. I can't wait for this to be done. And I'm like, it's not all going to go away on December 31st, And I was typing my email out, and I was like, we can learn everything. We can be given the lessons, but if we don't integrate it, we're just going to keep repeating it in different forms. And if you don't integrate what you're learning right now, then 2021 is going to be the same as 2020. You're not going to find, you know, that magical piece and, you know, on January 1st. Like, you're not going to just wake
Yeah,
up and be like completely enlightened and
yeah.
not have any troubles, you know, and even with learning, you're going to have troubles. And I think that it's very important that people learn, like, hey, you have to integrate what you're learning. You have to show up for the lesson. You have to keep going as hard as it is, because that's how you see change. And that's what the female archangels can help us with. Because
Yeah,
just
they
in,
are here for sure to help us with change. And that's the only constants in life, isn't it? Is change. I think a lot of people just want to bury their head in the sand and just like what you say, but we started a new 7-year ascension path cycle December 21st last year, 2019. And so the next 7 years are going to be filled with great evolutionary change. Like everything is going to be uprooted where we've had blocks, where we've held limitations, where we've held judgment and fears, the roots of our hang-ups. Everything is going to be unearthed. And it's not because the universe is spanking us. We've not been bad. You know, it's just because it's really our higher self is doing that. For those of us who are on our ascension path, we want to rise up, we want to expand and leave all the nonsense behind us. But we can't do that by just flicking a switch. It's a transitional journey of shedding and evolving. And yeah. So I
that's,
think
yeah.
for a lot of people, they have to really wake up, don't they?
It's, yeah. And I've been, you know, as much as I say like, oh yeah, I've been able to do like, you know, X, Y, and Z through this, like it's been hard too. Like it's been rough trying to like adjust to, you know, how things are, you know, and trying to like find myself but also keep myself, you know, like during all this, and realize that things need to change. And I didn't know that we started a 7-year ascension path in December. I had no idea. I know of like the 20, what was it, the 2011 one,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I had no idea about that in December. That's really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So it tends to move in waves, our ascension, and this one is all about uh, integration, just like what you said at the start of this
Mm,
integration. So whatever has been uh, in our way has to break down. It's got to break down. This is what 2020 is all about. It's the collapse. It's the collapse of reality that we have been holding on to that is not in alignment with where we're going. That's simply what it is. And that's happening in a micro level in our life, but also in the macro, how we're seeing the world, the government, restrictions on travel, everything. But I think we have to remember throughout all of this that we are creating a more positive, unified Earth. So it is positive. It's just we have to keep our perspective.
absolutely. And I remember, especially in 2016 here in the US, when we had like the major upheaval with the election. um, I was very, I was angry, still am a little bit, but um, you know, and I acknowledge that, and you know, I'm working through that. But something that I was immediately drawn to was actually came from the Wonder Woman movie. I don't know if you've seen the Wonder Woman movie,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it really was a perfect, I feel, story of kind of what I feel is going on right now. Is the divine feminine is rising up, and the systems that were built on like that toxic masculinity, like that toxic energy of give me, give me, give me, of
Mm-hmm.
like greed and hoarding and things like that, like it's falling away, and that's all we've ever known. And I feel like it's falling away to bring light to, you know, love, and how powerful love is and how powerful we are. But we're like, no, no, the rug's being pulled out from under me.
You know, people are waking up from all the brainwashing and the illusion, and yeah, like that sort of imbalanced masculine energy of control and power
Mhm.
is trying its hardest to stay, but it's not going to, because the earth has decided she's moving forward. The female archangels have really stepped in, and they're here, and they're helping everybody, not just those who are spiritually aware, but everybody right now, to find their voice and to lead whatever way that feels right to them, to lead in their life, whether it's lead being a mother in the household, or lead in relationships, or lead in their spiritual career or path. The feminine is asking us to use our voice and to not shy away anymore, and to not, keep ourselves small or keep ourselves distracted. And this is how the female archangels, I love them because they're so different to the male archangels, which we've known for eras.
Yes.
uh they're here, they're like, right, come on, just like Wonder Woman, they're suited
Yeah.
and booted, and they're ready. They're ready
No,
to
that's
meet you.
exactly what I think about, because Wonder Woman is one of my favorite movies because of how she took on, that Mars energy, that Aries energy, like that
Mm.
aggression and that like just war, and that energy that's just like so toxic, and that maybe had its place at one time, but like not anymore. She's like, no, I'm gonna get it. She did it. And I love that movie. Like for the longest time she was the background on my phone with her, like with her armor up, and I'm like, because you're like, I want to be Gal Gadot. Like she's just the greatest. And when you were talking about the female archangels, in the introduction to your book, you say, talk to them, question them, channel them, and embody them. Ask them how you can support their evolution. I underline that because to me, like I never think about, or have never thought about, like me helping an angel. Like I've always thought about angels helping me. Like I
Mhm.
never thought about asking the angel, like, how can I help your evolution? And especially with female archangels, that's powerful to like bring them to light. Can you maybe like expand a little bit on that? Because I love
Yeah,
that so much.
yeah. I, for so long, I think spirituality, we've seen our guides and our angels through this sort of utilitarian filter where we're asking, what can you do for us? Um, and it's quite a naive way of being, really. It's a one-sided relationship. And then we go to psychics or seers or mediums and we say, why can't I see the angels or communicate with them? And I would say, well, is it a balanced relationship, or are you just asking all the time? Um, it's got to be balanced. It's got to be a partnership, especially going forward, because we're becoming so much more aware. So we're not really naive. We know who we are. We're starting to remember our divinity. And with that comes greater responsibility when we're interacting with the spiritual realms. And so a great question to ask, whether it's angel, whether it's an ascended master or a spirit guide or a loved one, is always, how can I help you? How can I serve you? And make this a co-creative partnership, rather than me just being, sitting here and you channeling through me and kind of using me, or me lying down and you just bathing me with healing and I don't have to take responsibility for my health. It's not like that. It has to be this two-way street. And the female angels really, you've literally done, do underline that, because the divine feminine, whether male or female in body, is all about taking responsibility. It really is.
I love that. The Female Archangels book. I just like, if you're watching this or listening to this and you have not got the book, just like pause and go get it and then come back. Because honestly, it really is like, you said in the book, that like you might start by skimming it and by like, and I was like, yep. I was like, that was literally me. I was like, I went to the like angel healing prescriptions, like in the bag. I was looking at the charts because that's like the first place I go to in any like reference book, whether it's a book about unicorns, which you also have, which is Unicorn Rising, which is right here.
Yay.
Which is actually the first book. That's how I found you, was through Unicorn Rising, and through the Elemental Healing course with George Lizos. And I was like, oh my gosh, unicorns. So it was just, and that's how I got hooked. And, and you say unicorns and I'm right there. But I really love how accessible this book makes these angels. And I like how you address the twin flame aspect of it.
Mhm.
where they're not two separate angels, they're two sides of like the same coin.
Yes.
And I really, because I think a lot of people have a very interesting view of what twin flames and like what they are, and like, you know, spending their whole lives chasing twin flames. And I love how you were like, it's right there, like it's already there, like it's here, like these two angels are not separate. And I love that. And I was wondering if you could maybe expand on that a little more.
Yeah. Well, in essence, you know, if we didn't have a physical body, we would be androgynous like an angel. We
Mm-hmm.
would have a spiritual body, but it wouldn't have a gender. But because angels relate to us, humanity, they will always take a form that relates to the beings that they're speaking to or communicating with. So on another planet, another star system, the beings look different. The angels will look, sometimes angels look like ETs, depending on who they're talking to. But and we're coming into these greater senses of awareness and remembrance as we ascend. But because they communicate with humanity, they choose to come forward in a form. And for that last, 2,000-year-old patriarchal phase that we were in, that Piscean age, it's been the masculine. You know, God was seen as masculine with a beard. And Christ, Son of God, was seen as masculine. Buddha, masculine. Angels, masculine. But all the while, we're not just all male on earth, we're male and female. And it doesn't really matter the gender. It's not a sexual thing. It's more the vibration of our consciousness. We have an inner male and an inner female. All of us do. And so the angels want to reflect upon that. And because we're now stepping into the divine feminine era, we did in 1111, moved into the Aquarian age, the archaea are here to be represented as this reflection of the divine feminine that is within us, that is within all, that hasn't really been represented and is so ready to be healed and empowered. So that's why they're here. But the twin flame, you can see it as, you know, like an infinity symbol. So like that figure 8. So if you imagine, this is the way that they show me, we can understand it in a more sort of quantum way. So on one side of that circular bend is the masculine, the other side is the feminine, and they intersect in the middle and they're unified. And they always really are unified, but they will choose to manifest in a way that is needed in the moment for us or for the co-creation that we're experiencing with that angel. So for example, Archangel Michael for so long has been seen as the angel closest to God, you know, Archangel Michael. I know he's so with you right now. I can feel him with you. And, you know, he's really there. And God loved Michael, you know, he's a total brother of mine and angel of protection, but he's also the angel of leadership and confidence. And when people have connected with Michael in the past, it's almost like they use Michael's energy to protect themselves, you know, wearing his cloak and keeping all, you know, safe and snuggled by his energy. Whereas Faith, Archaea Faith, who comes forward in this beautiful sapphire color.
Oh.
I know. This is a crystal so that connects to Archaea Faith, this Andara, Tanzanite Andara. Yeah, Faith, the way that she helps us with protection is rather than being a big brother and wrapping us and saying, you know, there, you're okay, I'm going to protect you. She's like, no, open your heart. Because when your heart is open, that is your protection. That is your protection. So the Archaea go one step further by taking us to the root of our fear, for example. And the essence of the feminine, another way to look at it, is creation. Is pure untapped creation. It's the void, it's the blackness from where everything is born from, where the light comes from. And for a long time, black energy, anything black in the spiritual kingdom was seen as negative and, you know, don't go there. But that's the irony. We all really come from that womb space of creation. Yeah, big answer there for that
But
question.
no, that was amazing. And I think, and I was debating on whether or not to touch on this topic, but you said something and it made me think about it. You said that literally just now that we've been taught not to go to the dark places, like not to go to the black, like not to go to the void. Do you feel that that is because we've had some pretty prominent people leave the New Age community? And you mentioned it in your book, and I was honestly very shocked. I was like, I have not read that name like in an actual book. I was like, I was like, oh, and but you know, and for those of you who don't know who we're talking about Doreen, or I'm talking about Doreen Virtue. But do you feel that that resistance, and it's not hasn't just been her, it's been a lot of people
Mhm.
that have had that fear of going into the blackness, that want to stay in the light, and that want to stay in the, or whatever they feel like is safe for them. Do you feel like that resistance to the the dark or the black is kind of what causes that departure from like the spiritual
Mhm.
path?
Such a great question. Such a controversial area in the spiritual world right now, but it's a conversation we need to talk about. And whenever you work with the female archangels or the unicorns, you are a rebel. You naturally have to say these things. And so yeah, I put that truth in the book. I have such great empathy for spiritual teachers and everyone else who goes through what is called a reality collapse, where
Mm-hmm.
everything that they have known and their identity is challenged to the point of them realizing that the world that they've known is not real. And I remember tuning into to Doreen Virtue ages ago when all that happened, when she started to
Mm-hmm.
renounce her teachings. And what came forward was, and this is just my opinion, so Doreen, if you're watching, I apologize, but this is just my opinion. Um, I, I, I got such fear from her, such
Mm-hmm.
fear that she had, and this will happen to every one of us who is on this ascension path. We go through what's called piercing the veil, where we literally pierce, and I'm not talking about the 3D, 4D world, which is naturally crumbling away. I'm talking about very controversial, piercing the bubble of love and light that has been created.
Yeah.
And in and of itself, that is an illusion. That is an illusion. Yes, we are love incarnate. Yes, um, there are angels of the light. We are talking with them right now. They're with us. They are here. But there's also angels of the dark. There's different types of angels. There's different types of reality. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that movement, which Doreen Virtue was such a great part of, cultivated this idea that everything is just love and light. And when we graduate and pass over from this physical life, everything is just peachy and it's all love and light. And that's simply not true. We go through another form of evolution, and that still has its own challenges. It's lighter and freer and devoid of the physical in many ways. But so that's a big topic. So what I've seen is a lot of psychics, mediums, healers going through this, on Facebook. Some of them are saying, I'm not working with tarot anymore, or I'm just going to go back to Christianity. They're going back to what they've known as a child, or what they've been indoctrinated, what they feel is safe. And working with Christ energy is amazing, is a way for ascension, but working with the Christ through Christianity, through a religious lens, I wouldn't recommend that. But that's just my own personal view,
Mm-hmm.
because that is part of the old ways. Um, Religion, when it was created, comes from the word realgo, which means to unite, to come back to who we are. That was always the aim of religion, was to help us, once we went through that veil of amnesia coming into this life, remember who we are and unite with all that we are. But corruption, control, power came in,
Yep.
and so much of it's been misconstrued. And since I was a little girl. I've loved churches. I've loved Christianity.
Mhm.
I have a Last Supper tapestry right there. Like, I love it. I love the energy, but I wouldn't put all my faith in Christianity or any religion. I wouldn't put my faith in any spiritual teacher either, because we
Yeah.
all hold different pieces of the puzzle. We've got to find our own truth. And that's what comes from piercing the bubble, piercing the veil. It comes with great responsibility, because all that we have known crumbles away. And then we have to really rely on what we feel is true coming from other people and what we feel is true coming from ourselves.
That is 100% what I felt when that happened with Doreen, because she was my spiritual mother. Like
Yeah.
she was the first. Yeah, my first deck was the Archangel Power Tarot cards, and when she was like going through all of this, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Should I throw my books away? I was like, what's going on? And then I was like, no, like I know this is true. Like I've experienced it. You can go and do whatever you want. I'm going to be my teacher now. And I think that me, along with a lot of other people, have, I guess, not graduated from a teacher, but you know, have let that propel us into learning, actually learning, and embracing topics that we were once were like, no, don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
don't explore this. Stay within this little bubble. And that's, I mean, that's how I found you, and Diana Cooper. I had always liked Diana Cooper, but I found even more of her stuff, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I have her unicorn book on my desk too. But it was a really traumatic experience for me. Like I cried, like I was just like I grieved, but it made way for a lot of magic to take place. It was just beautiful.
I know so many people really felt like, but in a way, just as you've shared, it became the catalyst for you to begin that greater path of spiritual discernment, which is so important to be able to discern. And that's the empowerment, So, God, I loved Wayne Dwyer.
Mhm.
I still listen to his things now and again. I loved him. I loved his energy. But what he did was it was very much a soothing. It wasn't really, I'm going to lift you up. I'm here to poke and provoke you because I see your potential, and I'm going to lift you up and empower you on your path. Rather, it was more kind of soothing, which I think a lot of the big spiritual teachers share. But we're all equal to each other, and we're all here to discern our own truth, and not just be carried along in the love light, but actually pierce it and then see what's next, and this keep ascending from there.
That's exactly one of the struggles that I've been going through lately is especially with a lot of the fear that's going on right now. I feel like is manifesting in a lot of different ways, and I feel like people are trying to grasp anything that makes them feel better.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that, like, I guess in my perception are harmful that people are sharing, you know and I'm having to, the unicorns told me when I started working with them, when I really started working with them, they were like, protect your peace.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about my social media, and I was following a lot of people who were sharing things that I didn't agree with, but that they agreed with wholeheartedly. And I think that had they not told me to protect my peace, I wouldn't have, had the courage or strength to maybe unfollow some people, because they're sharing their truth or what they perceive to be true, or what they are latching onto. And I'm doing the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's been a very interesting experience, kind of piercing that, as you said, like the my perception has, I'm going through this thing where I'm like, should I say anything? And I'm like, no, but should I? And then my ego's like, say something, start something, like, like point it out. And I'm like, but what's going to come of that? Like what's going to come of like me pointing out, what someone is doing, unless it's blatantly hurting somebody else and like being, harmful. It's been a very interesting experience working with energy that is so high vibrational, like the unicorns, that they don't want me to to do anything that would like lower mine.
Their
And I'm like,
truth,
don't tell me
yeah.
what to do.
They speak the truth. They speak the truth. That's it. Well, what you're doing, you're employing your discernment, but in the physical world rather than just in the spiritual world, which is brilliant. Everybody is sharing their truth now more than ever because the feminine within is starting to find her voice and she's speaking. And yeah, there will be people that will exit your life or people you'll unfollow, and that's great, because what you're doing in the process is you're refining what's important to you. And as much as spiritual discernment is key right now, so is spiritual boundaries, like energetic boundaries, which
Mm-hmm.
is talked a lot about in the book. Having a really great boundary with
Yes,
your relationships, the energy of your home, the energy of your space, like really to be aware of what you're bringing in, watching, eating, listening to.
absolutely. It's been a journey. And I'm like, dang it. Because they're just so like, and which kind of leads me to what I had a question for you about unicorns, because I recently found out, and I guess I knew this, but I think I told you I'm doing a course with Lisa Robertson, and she was channeling Palladian unicorns, and I was like, what? This is crazy and amazing. Um, is there a particular, like, I know we talk about blended elementals in the elemental healing course. Is there a particular type of unicorn that is coming through now to kind of help us with this piercing reality and
Yes.
keeping us
Yes.
from going crazy?
No, you're not. I think I actually introduced Lisa to the Palladian unicorns, because we've been chatting a lot about the unicorns, and there are well, there's probably many more, but 22 different types I've connected with.
Wow.
And yeah, of course, we never before have we been able to tap into the galactic energies that we're tapping into now. Every moment, every day, it's expanding. It's not just Mother Earth who is ascending into this fifth dimensional space and beyond, but it's our whole universe. So there's pathways opening up that we have never been able to connect with up until now. And that's why I'm actually writing my second unicorn book, and it's all about and it's all about the different types of unicorns.
Oh my God.
Different, yeah, because it's never been spoken about before. I think Diana speaks about galactic unicorns from Lyra, and in Unicorn Rising I talk about elemental and the Celtic unicorns, but there's so many more, so many more.
Oh my gosh. That just like, now I'm like, come on. I mean, no.
But they all have a different message. They all have different teachings. There's some we won't resonate with. The last unicorn healing course, every year it evolves, like the 3-month hands-on healing program that I teach. And this year's course, it's just ended. We brought in 12 different types of unicorns, and we never normally really work with the different types of unicorns. And so every week they came forward and gifted a transmission with like a journey, meditation, attunement, and they gave everybody like a home play, like homework exercise to do for that week. And there was some unicorn, like the black unicorns, who are the divine feminine, come from the void space, do not, mince their words at all. I think that's a UK phrase for they don't hold back.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
they don't hold back. And people had really, really powerful shifts. And then there's the Andromedaean unicorns, which are all about love, and they're so soft and gentle. Some people didn't connect with them, which I was quite astounded with. So the different types of unicorns will speak to you and connect with you if it is if you have a co-creative soul or spirit purpose. You can reach out and connect with them all, but there'll be more that will speak to you than the others, is what I'm trying
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
to
Like when the unicorns came in, they changed everything for me. Like they changed my entire like offerings, they changed my business, they changed. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know I was ever going to be doing this, but okay, cool, thank you. Like, thank you for giving me more work. I
say. Yeah,
appreciate it.
you know what? Well, mostly I'd say about 95% of people that I've connected with talking about unicorns over the last 15 years has shared similar, that their world shifts, because when you start to work with the unicorns and invite them into your life, you're really inviting in your soul and your spirit and your godhood, and your
Mm,
mission, if it's not in alignment, will change.
yeah, it is.
It is.
I'm like, I'm like, what are you doing? Slow down.
Yeah, they really do accelerate our ascension. Like, yeah, it's at an incredible rate.
I was doing a reading where the unicorns came through, and I was channeling them, and I was honestly very surprised by how like they whisper. Like it's very light. Like it was very like I was expecting with the amount of energy they'd been throwing at me that they would be very commanding, but they were so gentle, and I was like, can you speak a little louder? Like I need you're saying good things, but like I was very surprised at that. They really are really gentle. The ones that I've
Mhm.
connected with so far are they're not poking me
Yeah.
too much. They're not they're not getting me too bad.
The Celtic unicorns and Celtic unicorns, Atlantean unicorns, black unicorns for sure are a bit more booming. They're a bit more forthright.
And I cannot wait to connect with them because I feel like that matches me because I'm like my Mercury is in Leo, so I'm very much like and I'm like yell at me, like get my attention.
Yeah,
Um,
just you wait.
oh gosh, I know, and they're gonna be like, you asked for it, and I'm like, no, I take it back. My one of the last things I wanted to talk to you about that I thought was just really, really cool is like the reading technique that you mentioned, where like you put the books like on your nightstand, I believe it was,
Yeah.
or how can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, do you know what? I've done it since I was small. Um, Taking my awareness back, it's an Atlantean technique where you don't actually have to read the book, but you can read the consciousness of the book through your awareness. So you can either put them on your nightstand and just set the intention that you want to absorb and understand the consciousness of the book and the teachings of the book, and it literally is downloaded. Um, there's another way, the sleeping prophet, I can't remember his name, the famous psychic, is it Edgar Casey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Edgar
think it's
Casey.
Edgar
Yeah,
Casey.
yeah,
Edgar
yeah.
Casey used to do something similar. He would place it on his solar plexus and he would absorb the information that way. And yeah, I mean, every book, every card, tarot deck has a consciousness. And if you, like, say you have a deck and you're interacting with lots of different people, lots of clients, that deck is always going to be mixed with their energies no matter how much you clear it. If you continue to work with that deck, it's going to have that energy within it. So I always recommend that you have a deck. We've now segued onto decks that is just yours, that you just use for year, and you keep that beside your nightstand as well, so you can read the
Hmm.
consciousness of it. And then again with books, until you are sick of a book or you've absorbed it all, then you can give it away to another person. Otherwise, I wouldn't blend. I wouldn't, be sharing books. That's just my personal thing.
That's very interesting. I like that. I'm gonna have both of your books on my nightstand tonight and just be like, come in, help me.
It works. Honestly, I do not read. For being an author, I literally don't read. I have so many books. And I have like maybe about 10 in my bedroom right now, and I'm just absorbing. And honestly, things will drop into your consciousness. And I'm like, where is that coming from? And it's, it's something in a book. It does happen. And another trick is if you wanted an amplifier, if you didn't really believe this technique, then take a quartz crystal.
Oh my gosh, that's massive.
Yeah, this is Lemurian. And Lemurian is probably one of the best quartz to use because it's a natural holder of information, like records of energy. And so you can place the crystal on top of the book and just leave it overnight with the intention, and this has to be cleansed and cleared, with the intention that the crystal is absorbing the consciousness and the information, the teachings of said book. And then you take the crystal and you just leave it in your workspace, or you can place it on parts of your body. And that's another way to amplify. But really, once you practice this, you don't need the crystal because you yourself are the crystal.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much for talking with me today. It's been amazing. And if you want to find out more about Calista, you can go to calistaascension.com, and you can find her on Instagram and Facebook at Calista Ascension, where she does amazing ascension updates and just amazing meditations where you can just tune in and just feel angel goodness. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you said the Female Archangels is actually being re-released with colored pictures in hardback.
I know, I can't wait. So yeah, it's going to be hardback, like this shiny thing. And the angels in the book, I shall just show you.
Oh, that's the actual. Oh.
I don't have the full color one yet.
Oh gosh! I was like, oh my god.
But this is Angel Faith. This is Archangel Michael's twin. So she will be in full color. Which,
oh my gosh!
You'll see all the rays and the nuances. Oh, I can't wait. So yeah,
I'm
that's
so
going
excited.
To be re-released soon on
Amazon. And the full color pictures are on your website too, right? Like of the angels. If someone wants to like look at them and soak in their beauty and majesty.
Yes. And always be sure to put in Calista beside the Female Archangels, because there is a book that was released after mine with the same title.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I actually found that out. I was like, this isn't the one that who is this? I was like, this isn't Calista's book. And I was like, no. I want Calista's book. So yes, yeah, and hers is the very pretty purple. If you're listening to this instead of watching it, it's a very pretty purple book with like a woman with wings. That's the one that we are talking about. So that's the one you need to get, Calista, the Female Archangels. Thank you so much.
It has been such a joy. And thank you to the angels for holding the space and bringing through such cheeky rebel teachings.
Right. And for keeping the construction noise to a minimum. Like, that was great. Thank you, Michael, for that. I appreciate you. All right. Bye, everybody. We will see you next time.